Tiana's Bayou adventure opens in less than a week, and it's still not working. Let's talk about the disaster of virtual queue at Magic Kingdom here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place. Here with me is my usual co-pilot, Mr. VashSky, but also avid theme park goer, Mr. Marvin, the movie monster. Marvin, I think you're going to help us out on this story here in particular. You doing all right today?
I'm doing okay. It was yesterday not so much, but today a little bit better.
Well, let's talk about yesterday first from the outside perspective, and then your perspective being there in the parks trying to actually ride this ride, which is supposed to be open for cast member previews. This from WDWNT, afternoon Tiana's Bayou Adventure virtual queue not available for June 18th. This by Phil Wood. Annual pass holders hoping to reserve a place in line during the 1 p.m. Tiana's Bayou Adventure virtual queue enrollment window will not be able to do so on June 18th. I'm just going to explain this for those of you who are not aware of what virtual queue is. Well, maybe we should start with Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Vash, if you went to the parks today and wanted to get on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, how would you go about doing that?
You would have to enroll into the virtual queue option, at least during this preview period. I believe when the attraction officially opens June 28th, maybe Marvin, you can correct me on this, they'll have two options to actually enroll. So the virtual queue option is essentially at 7 a.m. When the virtual queue goes live, you are entered into essentially a lottery system, depending on how fast your fingers work, and you can either be enrolled or not. The other way would be on June 28th, that is Genie Plus, which is essentially their paid fast pass system that gets you, I believe, one ride on this. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, that would be correct. Yeah.
Now I'm going to point out that you just skipped a whole bunch of steps here. First of all, you have to buy a ticket, then you have to reserve this day, then you have to show up to the park. Oh, wait, and figure out that it's only for annual pass holders, and then you can get into the virtual queue if you have an annual pass.
This was the pass holder preview. Is this week?
Right. And for those of you who are not aware, those who have already ridden Tiana's Bayou Adventure, first was the Imagineers and Executive Preview, which is only people who work for the Walt Disney Company and a few of their friends. Those did not go well. They were full of evacuations. And then came the invite only for regular cast members and their friends and family. And those also did not go well. A lot of evacuations, a lot of ride glitches that we're seeing. But now this is supposed to be annual pass holder previews, Marvin. An early admission to the ride, right?
Yes, this is supposedly every time they open a new land or a new attraction, they will typically do a preview for pass holders or DVC members, where typically it was you entered months beforehand, and they would basically give you a date and a time, and okay, here's your window, come at this time, you get on the ride. This time they were like, nope, crawl for it, and we're just going to make you do the virtual queue the way we normally do.
Well, so
now, from what I hear, the DAS system has changed, so that maybe they don't want you to crawl for it. Maybe I'll get in trouble for that joke. So go ahead, Vash. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say operationally there are benefits to doing that, right? So you train your staff or your cast members there to handle something like this and to handle a highly attended, highly in demand ride, and you also take those annual pass holders away from maybe the day ticketers who would be buying a ticket for when this attraction officially opens. So operationally, there are some benefits as well. But this is not testing, I think, is the big point here.
Right. The intention here is for this ride to be fully operational. And I looked it up. It's June 13th is supposed to be when annual pass holder previews started. They've been testing the ride for quite some time now. And we've made a lot of videos documenting. We actually pulled back on it a little bit because at some point you start to get sick of talking about Tiana's Bayou Adventure, even though there is still plenty to talk about. We weren't going to talk about the amazing number of shutdowns that are going on or the tweet threads from Imagineers that expose all of the problems here. What we have today is, I think very important. Marvin was actually in the park and supposed to be in this virtual queue for this ride. Marvin, would you like to tell us how yesterday went for you?
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure you guys followed along in our chat there when I was giving you guys the blow by blow, moment by moment, growing anger and frustration that I was experiencing. While standing on the surface of the sun that was the Magic Kingdom yesterday. Waiting, just literally sitting around waiting for this. So we woke up. My Mrs. Movie Monster and I woke up around was 6:50 to do the 7 a.m. queue, and we got right in, and we got boarding group 33, and I was like, oh, thank God, because like we're down in Orlando this week, but I didn't have a lot of time. I had like stuff I had to do. I had Toonie Talk Wrestling to do last night, so we had to get back. So we were like, the latest we can be there is like 3:00. So I'm like 33. Oh my God, this is great. We're gonna be on the ride before 11 o'clock. It'll be great. So we leave around 8:30. We get to the park. We park the car. We're walking in, and I'm like, oh, see, what are they boarding yet? And she's like, nope. And I'm like, what do you mean no? And she's like, it says boarding paused. And I was like, what do you mean boarding? Then I'm like, oh no, it's broken again. And so then as we're getting on the ferry boat, she's like, oh wait, it opened. They're boarding up to like boarding group 20. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. All right, so we're in there. I'm looking at the thing. They've got a like low wait time screen where like the little critters in the band will appear one by one, and
That's
so
right.
starts with the rabbit. I guess his name is Gritty, and he's like sitting there playing a wash tub or something like, or a washboard or something like that. And I'm like, okay, there we go. And now the critters are all filling in. Now they're all up there, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then before the ferry gets to the Magic Kingdom, she's like, oh, there we go. That's what it was. Yeah, that's actually that's my screenshot that I sent you guys. Yeah, because it's group 33.
Yep.
That was as we were on the way over. And then all of a sudden it says boarding paused. And I'm like, uh-oh. So then we get in.
It's still paused. I'm fairly certain.
We get in, we sit down, where, we park it over by the Plaza restaurant there on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so now, Mrs. Movie Monster is now like hangry, which is apparently a thing that people experience. I haven't been angry since I was hungry since I was like 2. But I went and I got a Mickey. I purchased a Mickey shaped cinnamon bun. I got this big thing of popcorn with like candy in it, and I'm like, yeah, like let me appease my wife. And we're sitting there, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's still paused. Oh my God, it's still paused. And so now like an hour has gone by and it's still paused. And so now I'm like, let's go do something. Let's go, People Mover, Tomorrowland Transit Authority. So we go on that. We do 2 laps around on that thing.
I love that, by the way. Yeah. I love the People Mover.
The best.
I'm going to say it's kind of an underrated experience. I'm not going to try to oversell it to anyone, but it's really nice on a hot day to be breezing through Tomorrowland above the fray.
Mm-hmm. No, 100% agree. It's one of my favorite things there, and always so simple. Never really a super long wait. But anyway, we get through that. It's still down. All right, we ride Little Mermaid. It's still down. We take care of something. We have to take care of a guest relations. It's still down. By this point, it's like 1:00, and so I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do? Another hour goes by. It's 2:30. I'm like, it's still down, and now the screen has reverted back to the bunny rabbit alone.
Which means you're not getting in.
Yes, we're back. We're back to this. We're back to Gritty is ready for adventure. Gritty might be ready for adventure. I'm ready to ride this ride. I've been here for hours.
Look, if you see the progress tracker, so you see there's 4 eliminated, and now there's just 1. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's in order. That's in the order I sent them to you, because it went from 4 to 1, and I was like, what is going on here? So finally, around like 2:30, we just leave. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I can't believe this was what a waste of a day this was. And yes, I know, like, you're in Disney. It's not really a waste of a day. We did have fun. We spent time together. That's why she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I was just like, no, like I got to spend the day with my wife in a place that we typically do very much enjoy.
Right.
So,
the thing that I always go back to here is what if you had brought kids with you, and those kids were excited? As you know, there's a rumor going around that Disney is a park that is supposed to appeal to children. I've heard that in places. I keep getting told online that whenever we bring up kids, that's not really what the parks are for these days.
People say that to you?
Yeah,
it's not for kids. It's for weird adults.
That's right. It's for adults who have nothing better to do with their time. And that being said,
I'm an adult that likes Walt Disney World. I like going. I very much enjoy it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I don't sit there and think this is just for me.
Right. Well, the entire point, and we look at the numbers for Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 is tracking better with grown women than it is with the target audience of kids for the Disney brand right now. So Disney has a different issue on their hands. They are trending away from being a child-friendly brand or being something that appeals to children right now. And if the theme parks are going to appeal to dual income, no kids, I'm not trying to describe you or anything here when I say this, but if you had brought a child with you and that child was wanting to go on Tiana's Bayou adventure that day, and you think, oh, look, and the idea of cartoon characters on a log, I'm going to say that's something that's supposed to kind of, oh, hey, look, honey, look right here at the little animated rabbit here that's playing the washboard. By the way, don't look for him to be that animated when you actually see him on the ride. He's a single motion animatronic.
True.
But I can't even imagine how disappointing that would be for the child.
Look at all the animated vermin that are appearing on this log.
Yeah, you can make a pretty good gumbo with them if you were a true Cajun right there. Not to mention that's Bo, the female opossum that likes to play the Bayou cello right there.
But so we leave. We leave the Magic Kingdom. We get back on the boat because I don't like the monorail. We get back on the boat. We go back to the parking lot. We get in the car. We leave. But the second we cross out through like the Welcome to Walt Disney World gate, they've now called our boarding group.
So you could have actually gotten on this ride today.
Well, yeah, but we were past the point where I could have stayed there because I had to get home. I had to put a bunch of stuff over for the live stream. So we're driving back, and so now my wife is pissed, and she's like, I can't believe we could have gotten on it. We could have gotten on, and I said to her, hold on, check again. And now we're like, it's 10 minutes later. I said, check again. She goes, ride not currently boarding. And I was like, there you go.
Okay. So you literally could not have gone to the ride.
It would have probably been another hour and a half, 2 hours before we could have gotten on at that point.
Or it could have broken down with you in it or in line. Or,
exactly. That was another thing. I was like, I couldn't justify getting stuck on there for X amount of time.
Sure.
And the second time it went down, like when we were on our way home, I think there were clouds in the sky. It might have been weather related. I'm not sure, but. Yeah,
which is a funny thing to say. Of course, we did see the other day that the ride completely shut down, and they drained all the water from the ride in order. And I'm not just saying this so that I can play this clip again, this amazing clip, but I cannot believe that they keep having to remove all of the water from Splash Mountain. Yeah.
Why, you can't open a Splash Mountain when that mountain ain't got no water.
No water.
No water. No water.
And for those of you who might be confused as to why this thing exists, Disney used to openly celebrate and do humongous TV specials and with fireworks in order to advertise the opening of their rides. Instead of this influencer-based, you got to be the one to get your Instagram photos with the ride and it's going to be great and please make a bunch of TikToks about it. They used to do humongous specials to get everyone hype about these rides. And now they're here with all of their shame, trying to figure out in less than a week after this comes out, how to get this ride fully functional before they hand it off to guests in order to get them to buy that Genie Plus and pay that upcharge in order to guarantee their spot on Tiana's Bayou adventure. Is there anything else we need to add before we wrap this up, guys?
Hopefully they miraculously rebuild this entire thing from the ground up by the 28th. Otherwise, they're going to have a lot more angry people on their hands.
I think you might be correct.
I'll tease our audience here. We have come upon some information. We're still trying to check on whether it's sourced, verified, and also if we can actually share it. So definitely subscribe to this channel for more because we have incredible amounts of information related to this attraction specifically and why it might be suffering as much as it is right now.
That's very true. There may be a reason that this ride will not function the way that it is currently designed or redesigned. I should put that caveat in there because it definitely worked about 3 years ago. That being said, comment if you've got any comments that you would like to throw our way. We do like to read all of them. Of course, like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.